Rain slid down the mirrored walls of Halbrook Industries like restless fingers, blurring the city skyline into a wash of silver and gold. Inside the vast marble lobby, the world was quiet except for the squeak of rubber wheels and the faint swish of a mop. Marcus Reed moved methodically across the polished floor, his reflection trailing beneath him. Nights were his domain, empty hallways, silent elevators, and the low hum of machines that never truly slept. He preferred it this way. The quiet made it easier not to think about hospital rooms and last goodbyes. Easier to focus on Lila, her math homework on the kitchen table, her small hand in his every morning before school. He checked the time. 11:47 p.m., almost done. Through the glass panels separating the lobby from the underground garage, something caught his attention. Headlights flickered briefly, then vanished. Marcus frowned. A black sedan rolled slowly into the garage with its lights off. That wasn't normal. He'd worked here long enough to recognize the regular vehicles. Executives favored sleek European models. Security drove marked SUVs. This car moved differently. Slow, careful, hunting. Marcus casually wheeled his cart closer to the doors, pretending to tie off a trash bag. The sedan parked near the executive spaces but didn't shut off. The engine idled low, almost patient. Two figures sat inside. Upstairs, an elevator chimed. Marcus glanced toward the security monitor behind the front desk. The camera showed Daniel Halbrook stepping out, phone pressed to his ear, brow tight with frustration. The CEO paced as he talked, distracted, then headed toward the garage entrance. Marcus's pulse quickened. The sedan inched forward. The back passenger door cracked open just slightly. Barely noticeable unless you were looking for it. Marcus's stomach dropped. "Sir?" he called weakly through the glass. No response. Daniel walked toward his silver car, still focused on his call. The sedan aligned behind him. Time slowed. Marcus thought of Lila's face if she ever got a call that her father hadn't come home. He didn't weigh risks. He didn't consider consequences. He ran. Bursting through the garage doors, his footsteps echoed sharply against concrete. "Don't get in the car!" His voice thundered through the structure. Daniel turned, startled. In the same instant, two masked men lunged from the black sedan. Marcus slammed into the CEO, knocking him behind a thick support pillar just as one of the attackers surged forward. A metallic object flashed under the fluorescent lights. Alarms began screaming overhead, triggered by the sudden movement detected on camera. The attackers hesitated. Distant sirens wailed. Within seconds, they retreated, jumping back into the sedan. Tires shrieked as the car sped up the ramp and vanished into the rain-soaked street. Silence followed, broken only by the echo of Marcus's heavy breathing. Daniel stared up at him from the ground, pale and shaken. The attempted kidnapping of Daniel Halbrook dominated headlines for days. News vans lined the street outside Halbrook Industries, analysts speculated about corporate espionage, and the board demanded immediate answers. Security was doubled. Access codes were changed. Consultants were hired. But Daniel couldn't stop thinking about one thing: the janitor who ran toward danger instead of away from it. 2 weeks later, Daniel sat alone in his office long after the building emptied. A folder lay open on his desk. Marcus Reed, age 34, widower, one daughter, Lila. Night shift custodian for 3 years. Former construction foreman before the company he worked for downsized. No complaints, no write-ups. Several quiet commendations for staying late during snowstorms and volunteering to fix minor safety hazards outside his job description. Daniel leaned back in his chair. While executives debated stock prices upstairs, this man had been watching, paying attention, protecting a company that barely knew his name. The next evening, Daniel did something he'd never done before. Instead of waiting for reports, he went downstairs himself. Marcus was in the maintenance room repairing a loose wheel on his cart when he noticed the polished shoes in the doorway. He stood quickly. "Mr. Halbrook." "Daniel," he corrected gently. Marcus nodded, unsure. For a moment, neither spoke. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. "I keep replaying that night," Daniel said finally. "You didn't hesitate." Marcus shrugged slightly. Didn't feel like a choice? Daniel studied him more closely now, the worn cuffs on his uniform, the fatigue he carried like an extra layer. HR told me about your schedule, Daniel said. You work nights so you can take your daughter to school. Marcus's expression softened at the mention of Lila. She already lost one parent. I'm not missing mornings. The words hit deeper than any boardroom argument ever had. Daniel had built an empire by calculating risks, but Marcus had acted on instinct, on love. Within days, Daniel made a decision that surprised the entire executive team. Halbrook Industries announced the creation of a new position, Director of Facilities and Safety Operations. A role designed not just to tighten security, but to build a culture where every employee mattered, from the penthouse offices to the janitor's closet. When Daniel handed Marcus the offer letter, Marcus stared at the salary number in disbelief. I don't have a degree for this, he said quietly. You have awareness, courage, leadership, Daniel replied. Those aren't taught in classrooms. Marcus accepted, hands still trembling slightly. Months later, security systems were smarter, protocols were sharper, but something else had changed too. Daniel now knew the names of the people who cleaned his office, because sometimes the strongest foundation of a company isn't built by the person at the top. It's protected by the one everyone overlooked.